guys, it's Gus, and today we're going to be showing you how to put the skids on. I'll show how to just do just the skid part, if that's all you want to do, plus the roll cage part. I wasn't going to do it, but I had enough people interested in it. I decided I would do up a quick video on it to get right into it and show you what you need to do. Okay, first things first, when you get this piece, I'll have a link in the description. These are for the infraction, but these are one big long piece like so, and you have to cut them apart. What I did for the length of this piece, which is used for under here to hold this skid on, I just made it the same length as the skid on top, just a hair longer, and that way it works out real good. So when it bumps up against the back of here, skid sticks in just a little bit. It's pretty much even with the radius of the back of the curve of the body there when that's put on there, kind of like so. But anyway, there's you'll notice there's 3 holes in there. What I did first is I actually used this to mark the holes. I first put this up here on top, held it just not quite even, maybe in I don't know, a millimeter and a half from the edge of the body. And then I used a 7/64 drill bit, and I drilled through here, and I drilled through the back one there to mark the holes for this. And then after I did that, after you use your 7/64 to mark the hole, you could use the body reamer just to open it up, so that way these little inserts will actually fit down inside, and those actually fit down inside of the plastic piece there. And then for this piece here, what I did is I actually put it on there, and you can't push it all the way in because of that little line up tab. And what I did was I just cleaned the body off real good, and Sharpie doesn't stick to these bodies very well, so I just lined it up where I needed it to be with those holes, and then I just kind of rocked it back and forth like this here, and then I knew where to drill that hole because it scratched a mark into the Sharpie. And then I drilled a 1/8 inch hole or 3mm hole into there, and then that all fits onto there like that. And once I got that done, I just put the piece on the inside, put the screws on the top, and if that's all you want is just the skid, you're done. Just do it on both sides, and you can you don't need to watch the rest of the video. But then what I did is this piece here is attached on like so. This must be the one from the other side because the angle's backwards. I just put this into the corner of the body here, so it was where I wanted it, and then I just held it up to here, and then I used a paint marker and I marked the top and the bottom, and then I cut it at this angle here. I'm not sure what that is. It's probably only about a 10-degree angle or something like that in comparison to this. It could be more than that, I'm not sure, maybe 15. But what that does is, because you're measuring it from out here, when you swing it in, it's going to be too long, which is perfect because then you don't have to worry about cutting it too short. And then what I did is I just used some 180 sandpaper, and I just held it on the table, sand it down, put it on, see if it was where the right length of where I wanted it. Wasn't, I put it on a table, sand it down a little bit more until I got it just right so it fit exactly where I needed the hole to be in the body to line up with the piece in there. And I will have a link in the description for all the parts and screws. You won't need to use those screws if you don't want to. The screws are the ones for here are a 3 by 12. These are a 3 by 24 or 25, the flat top. And I think these are a 4 by 8 or a 4 by 10, I don't forget. 4 by 10. I go through. What I did to mark the hole is I just measured the center of this in here, of where this plastic piece was, both the center here and the center on the side. And I checked for the location based off of the window, and it pretty much came out with right above, but it ends up being like just off of the corner of this window. And then I knew where to drill that. And with these pieces installed, I used a 7/64 drill, drilled through the body into this piece. You only need to drill through into it about, I don't know, about 8 or 10 millimeters to make sure you get that in far enough that the screw works. And then you have to make this. This was a little bit of fancy Dremel work, and I'm going to show you how I did that. You don't have to do it like I did it, but I'm going to show you how I did it. And essentially what I did is I got an angle on here, and on these, one of them actually had like an air bubble in the corner, which made finding the center really easy. But what you need to do is you need to find your center, kind of drill your hole in there a little bit to get it started, and then you get your angle where you need it to be. You drill it out the back side like that. And of course, when you do it, you got to make sure that, like on this one here, you keep it straight so that way it comes out right up on top of the top, instead of, you know, coming out the side this way or this way. And also, I would not recommend doing this how I do it, because I've lost a lot of skin doing it this way. I'd recommend putting it in a vise. It's a lot easier to get it straight that way, and then you don't have to worry about removing skin from your fingers. But then what I did is, it's about from the top of your angle back, it's about 8 or 9 mils back. Make sure you kind of hold it so you know, like this one here, I didn't worry about the angle. I'm actually going off of this here. So my angle's here, so I need to make sure I hold it square. notice here I'm running a fairly slow speed. I'm only running this at about quarter speed, which is only maybe 10,000 or less RPM. This one does 35,000, because otherwise it melts on you. And that was just the rough start. I essentially went from about 8 mils from the edge. I guess I probably eyeballed it pretty good here. I'm about 7, so I'm about a mil off, but it'll still be fine. And that's the start of the pocket. I'll switch out my bit and use my ball bit here. This one I run a little bit higher. I run this on about half speed on mine here, so that's probably about 15,000 RPM. Do is I just kind of keep taking a little bit out of the bottom, a little bit at a time. You don't want to overdo it until your screw will fit down in there nicely. And looks like I got just a little bit more to go here. There we go, got a good rough cut. Should have plenty of room for the screw to fit in there now. Oh yeah. And it's kind of hard to see, but I take this ball and I just lightly touch in there, so it does recess this a little bit, even though the screw will pull itself in, so you really don't have to do that. And then you could either leave it like that, or if you want it to look even nicer yet, you can take some sandpaper, sand it up real nice, and then once you get done sanding it kind of turns it white. But this plastic isn't too bad for that, so you might not even need to worry about it. But if it does turn white, what you do is you can just take a lighter or a heat gun or something like that, and you just lightly just kind of touch it, and you'll kind of see it. It'll kind of, and it'll turn it black again. You don't want to overdo it though, because otherwise it'll look like this, and you can see where it's been melted. I was playing around with this piece, trying to bend it and use this for something else in a project I was making, so that's why this one was kind of melted like that. But so yeah, that's all there is to that part. And once you get that done, you just stick your screw in there. almost forgot about this part. So you got to mark your hole for these. And what I did, they have these little washers that go on the bottom, and they're the same size as the bottom of the roll cage piece. I just put it, you gotta make sure you don't push on it too hard, because you don't want it, there's a radius in here. You don't want it on that radius, you want it just on the edge of the radius. So you get it where you want it. You put a small pilot hole in there, and then I just use my body reamer to get the hole the rest of the way the right size. This is plastic, and it's really flexible plastic, so make sure you don't over tighten this either. If you over tighten it, you'll watch and it'll flare right, squish this piece right out. Put that on there. And we take our 3x12 and the washer. Have it. And so far, I mean, it's not going to be the ultimate indestructible solution, but as far as prolonging the body, it definitely helps. So far, it's I've noticed I get some scratches here, but it's been keeping the body good along the back side. I haven't been getting the wrinkles along the back from any of the back end packs. It seems to help strengthen this. I also have, if you watch some other videos, I have a body cage on the inside. I'm actually working on a version 2. I'm waiting for the parts to get here. It will be no drilling of the top, no cutting. It'll be just be bending the top pieces, and then the only part you'll have to drill will be where it mounts onto the bottom of the chassis. So, alright, if you have any questions, post those down below. I hope I did a good job explaining, but yeah, otherwise, either post a question down below, or I have my Facebook down below. You can send me a message through my Facebook page, and I'll do what I can to help you out. And the parts again are also linked will be linked in the below that I use for these. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.